Hey everybody, we're back. So I do hear it doing something, but I'm not sure what yet. All the water seems to be drained from the tub, so I don't think it has anything to do with draining at this point. Although I do feel some pressure on my drain hose, so maybe it is still draining. Beginning to spin a little bit. Stopped. I think this delay between the wash cycle and the rinse cycle is a balancing act. It's trying to get that really good before it rinses it out and spins it. You're not supposed to run really small loads or really extremely large loads either. So it could be having a problem with just this. There's one bath towel in there and one hand cloth, so it could be having a problem with such a small load. It seems to be spinning pretty well. There's not too much shaking going on in there. The machine itself is perfectly stable, so balance issues can't be that bad. Another good thing about high efficiency machines, they do go through an extended spin cycle at the end, and since they don't use a lot of water to actually wash the clothes, they tend to get them fairly dry. This is a towel, so that's not necessarily the case. It's going to hold on to water pretty well, but for normal clothes you can probably shorten the time that it spends in the dryer and increase your energy costs, your energy savings rather, by running a shorter dryer cycle. You can see it's spinning it pretty good right now. It's still on the rinse cycle. It's not on the spin cycle. It is counting down still. We're at 24 minutes left. As long as it's counting down, that means that it is making progress. If it gets stuck and it has to rebalance the load quite a bit, it'll actually stop counting down. And it is saying that it is out of balance, so it's going to dump a little bit of water in probably. So I don't think this is the full rinse necessarily. It sounds more like this is just putting some water on the load to try and rebalance it. It does give an error code directly on the LCD screen, so I'll show you that really quick. So if you can see that, it's saying UE, little u, big E. That means it's out of balance, but not entirely out of balance. If it is having a really difficult time and it gets completely out of balance and it doesn't think it can fix it, that'll change to a large U and an E, and it'll just say that. It won't be bouncing between the time left and out of balance. It'll just say out of balance, and at that point you're actually supposed to open it up and rebalance the clothes. Luckily that hasn't happened to me yet. I haven't had to actually come down here and fiddle with it myself. It's been able to automatically fix itself each time, so I'm happy with that. Refocus up. There we go. This may in fact be a complete rinse, because that is a lot of water. It's not just dumping it on a certain section to rebalance. So I would say this is the full rinse cycle that it's running. Now the amount of water it dispenses is based on the weight of the clothes or of the load. Um, the weight that it's working on right now is the weight of that wet towel. So it thinks that there's probably a lot of clothes in there. It's probably going to fill up pretty high. It's already more full than it probably should be. So you're kind of losing some of that high efficiency by having it just that towel in there and having it go out of balance. That really, the high efficiency portion wasn't a driving factor for me. The fact that the high efficiency model benefits from the direct drive, where the motor is directly mounted to the drum instead of with a belt system, that is what really prompted me to go high efficiency. Not really the energy benefits, the cost benefits from that. Yeah. So it's going to agitate it a little, make sure that it gets all the soap out. But again, small motions. It doesn't want to do a lot. If it can be more efficient, it's going to try to be. Another thing to keep in mind about high efficiency washers, it is more important that you run a cleaning cycle on them. I'm not sure if that's because they're pushing less water through them, so things build up easier, but in general you should be running a cleaning cycle once a month according to the manual, and you should be cleaning the detergent tray once a week. I'm not going to do anything once a week. I'm going to wait once a month. I'm going to put in a cleaning tablet, run that through a cycle. The washer has to be empty when you do that, so it's just a cleaning cycle. You're not going to do laundry at the same time. And while I do that, I'm probably going to have the detergent tray out and be cleaning that while the washer is going. So, but that is something to keep in mind. You are supposed to do that for maintenance. I don't ever think we did that on our conventional top load washer. And our conventional top load washer, it did last probably 10 years actually, now that I think about it. It was a Maytag Atlantis, and like I said, probably 10 years it lasted. That was actually, my father bought that, and we had it at the house for a while, so it lasted a good long time. The problem with it, eventually, well, there's multiple problems, that's why we had to replace it, but the pulley on the motor actually somehow ground itself right in half pretty much, so we had to replace that, as well as the actual belt that goes around the motor, the pump, and the tub gear, the tub pulley rather. That was easy enough. Total cost to replace the pulley and the motor was about $45 because I just paid for parts and I did it myself. The pulley was a pain in the ass to get off of the motor. I took my reciprocating saw and just went to it because it was getting to me that bad. But overall, it was still probably about a 20-minute job. I was just frustrated by it. We are still in the rinse cycle. No more detergent has been dispensed, so all those suds are just what we're still in the towel and the hand cloth. And so after replacing the pulley and the belt on my conventional top load washer, the cover switch that tells it that the cover is closed, that went. No big deal. Overrode that with a screwdriver. We just jammed that in there and it gave it the signal that the cover was shut. But then it seemed that the bearings in the we think in the tub were actually going, because it would run through everything, it would pump water fine, so the motor was operating fine, it was turning the pulley. The tub would actually agitate fine but not spin, and that's pretty important. So the spin cycle was broken. It looked like it was going to be expensive to fix. The washer is probably 10 years old at that point, so the motor, who knows how long that's going to last. So basically we just said, what can we get? What's the next step up if we don't want to pay $200 to repair this washer? Does it make sense to just get a new one? A conventional top load washer, the one I was looking at was a Whirlpool. It came out to about $400 to $500 with delivery and everything, and after tax, of course. So $450 for a conventional top load. This one wound up costing me $700, and that's again delivered. They took my old one away with a sale price. I don't know if that's like an everyday sale price that they have on the Home Depot site, but it did include brand new stainless steel braided cables for the water intake. Yep, delivery, installation, hauling away my old one. So, I mean, overall, I'm happy with the purchase so far, as long as it keeps doing what it's doing, and there's no major problems with it. And I don't foresee any yet. Seems pretty rugged. Then I will be happy. If there are any problems in the future, a year down the road or anything, I'll try and make a video and post that up for you guys, so that you do know if there are any problems with it. Right now it looks like it went through a partial drain. I'm down to 5 minutes on this video too, so we may even have to go into another one. That noise was it beginning to drain some more. So it's probably going to spin. We are still in the rinse cycle, not the spin cycle, so it's probably going to spin to drain the rest of that water out, and try and balance the load before it gets into the spin cycle. It is really important that for the spin cycle the load is balanced. I'll have to double check, but I believe that the top speed on this for the spin cycle is like 1100 RPM. So it's moving when it does the spin cycle. Oops. That was our light that just fell. I was holding it up while it was shaking and thought it would be stable when it stops. Readjust a little. I am at 1 minute left on the video, this section of it, so I'm just going to pause recording. It looks like it's still going through the rinse cycle, still just drying it off before it starts to spin. When we come back, hopefully it'll feel that the load is balanced enough, and we'll go into spin cycle.